So Shivaji is relevant even today because of the way he conducted his administration. Very evolved, enlightened administration he did. Very little people know about his administration. Generally, they know only about his battle strategies, which are admired and appreciated, but the most important thing was his administration. So Shivaji always used the orange cloth or the orange flag as his banner, and he administered his kingdom in a most enlightened way possible to run a kingdom.
There have been instances of governments spending huge amounts of money on building statues of national icon and heroes. To set the context, I am from Bombay, and a huge number of people from Mumbai, including me, see Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj as an eminent warrior and icon. That being said, the government of Maharashtra recently allocated rupees 3,600 crores for building a Shivaji statue. Sadhguru, my question is that respecting national heroes and taking pride in history is important, but should it come at the cost of spending rupees 3,600 crores, especially when you have important socio-economic issues still pending? I mean, in Bombay, there have been bridges which have, which have fallen down. There are families, entire families who have been killed. There are public schools which have only received 25% of the funding.
All the many things that we need to do in this country, there's not one thing or two things.
Yeah.
There are so many things we need to do in this. At this time, is it necessary to build a statue? Well, it is not my personal choice to build a big statue, but at the same time, when I inquired about this, because it kind of bothered me also when I look at the number of how much it costs, then I was told this is going to be a technology center of an experience of India and Indian culture and variety of things. They want to make it a tourist attraction of the tourist attraction in the country, Mumbai being the commercial capital. So they have some vision. I don't know how it'll pan out, because it's the government executing the vision, but they have a vision, and hopefully it'll turn out in such a way that it'll be a big tourism draw for Mumbai. Right now they feel Mumbai has commercial travelers but no tourists coming to India. Tourists coming to India avoid Mumbai for variety of reasons. They want to change that with this one project. Hopefully they do that. And Chhatrapati Shivaji is an inspiration for all the Marathis for everything. So they want to build his statue. I don't know how tall it is. How tall it is? So I don't think the main budget is for the statue, it is for the complex that they're building. They're saying it's going to be a tourist draw. If it is so…
Fine. So, I understand that we don't have clarity as to the facts as to, whether they will be able to recoup the investment or not. But there were some people who just to let you know, and then you could also give your view on this. There were some people who did statistical studies on this. They said that Taj Mahal, which is the most popular monument in India, has 25 crores coming from it annually, 25-30. And this is 3,600 crores, which means that even if you don't include the cost of maintenance, this will take 150 years just to recover.
That is very simplistic economics. I don't know why… For anything illogical, a few people are always clapping, motivated in a certain way. Please, this is very illogical economics. This is not how that project is being planned, because from what little I know, I'm not an expert on this, let me admit that I don't know much about it, but it's not only about the statue. The statue is probably to pacify a certain groups of people so that they support that and they don't start a protest against this tourism project. The project like this will not be like… See, Taj Mahal is one ticket entry. This is not going to be like that. This is going to be many things about Indian culture, and this is not going to raise… it is not like 25 rupee ticket, you pay and you enter and go. And anyway, these kind of projects, it is going to be economically viable because we've been working on the river projects with Maharashtra's finance minister. They're very astute about money. So I'm sure they'll work out an economic module, I have no doubt about that, but beyond that, a tourism project, something that you're trying to draw people into the town, means they will stay in the hotels, they will eat, they will do many things, they'll spend money in the town. So there is… economics is in many places. So out of… just to see Taj Mahal, people to come to India, do you think just with a 50-rupee ticket they enter? For foreigners, I think it's 100 rupees or something. They enter and they go away? No, they will eat, they'll stay in a hotel, they'll buy things, Indian arts, crafts, everything sells. So it is very simplistic to look at this is gathering 25 crores, this will take 150 years. No, that's not the way to look at it.
Fine. So we'll move on to the next question, but I'm sorry I'm indulging myself here. Even if it is not 3,600 crores, even if you are going to recover it in the future, when you have children who are… when you have children who are dying of malnutrition, when you have schools which have only 25% public funding, wherein the rest of the 75% hasn't come, when you have this amount which is 7 times the amount which Maharashtra allocates to building rural roads…
This 3,600 crores is less than 3 months of alcohol consumption in Mumbai city. Why don't we abstain for 3 months and build the damn thing, whatever it is?
People from the Indian background would know much about this. I am not going into the historical aspects of this person, but there was a king, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, you know. Shivaji, who was a great king or an emperor, who's, kind of acquired a tremendous amount of respect for his administration, for his bravery, for his courage and his strategy of how he fought in those times. Hugely respected, especially people from Maharashtra. So Shivaji is relevant even today because of the way he conducted his administration. Very evolved, enlightened administration he did. Very little people know about his administration. Generally, they know only about his battle strategies, which are admired and appreciated, but the most important thing was his administration. Very evolved administration he did for his kingdom. So he had a guru whose name was Ramdas. One day Shivaji was standing in the balcony of his palace. Then he saw his guru going from house to house with a begging bowl, begging. Then he thought, what is my guru doing, begging on the streets? I'm a king, my guru can't be begging on the street, he must be. Then he called Balaji, who was his assistant, wrote a chit and sent it, please go and place it at the Guru's feet. So he went and placed this chit at the Guru's feet. So he picked it up and saw, and Ramdas smiled. And next day, he came to the palace and he said, in this chit, Shivaji had written, I am placing my entire kingdom at your feet. You can do whatever you want with the kingdom and me. So, Ramdas said, now that you have forsaken your kingdom and given it to me, what are you planning to do? So Shivaji said, Sadhguruji, whatever you say, you are my Sadhguru, whatever you say, I will do. And I just want to be around you and serve you, that's all I want to do. Then Ramdas had an extra begging bowl. So take this. And both of them went begging on the street, the emperor and the guru. People, when the guru came to their house, they thought he's just some beggar, they gave whatever they gave. Now the emperor has come, with great respect, they gave whatever they could. It's only now that if a beggar comes home, people are putting cooked food, leftover food, all kinds of things. But in this culture that was never done in the past, they only gave ingredients, rice, dal, like this. So it's for them to go and cook their food and eat. So after their begging rounds were over, they went near the river and the guru prepared a small meal, a simple meal out of whatever ingredients had come that day. And after he finished eating, what was left over, the king, the Shivaji, no more a king, ate. Then they were sitting under a tree and Shivaji smiled and said, "Now that you turned me into a beggar in just 24 hours, what else do you wish to do with me?" So Ramdas said, it's called gherav, that means a piece of orange cloth. He gave this orange cloth, which was on his body, he took it and gave this orange cloth. And he said, "Use this as your banner and go back and rule the country. But just know, this is not your kingdom. If you know this doesn't belong to you, you don't own it, and you will do the best that you can for the people, that is the way you must rule." So Shivaji always used the orange cloth or the orange flag as his banner, and he administered his kingdom in a most enlightened way possible to run a kingdom. Why I'm telling you this story is, Shivaji rose in his stature, lives in the hearts and minds of this country because he lived in grace. He fought battles, many, but absolutely balanced, never in anger, never in hatred, never lost in anything, just doing what is needed. Grace is the greatest empowerment that you can have. Once grace enters your life, every little thing is, how do I become available to grace? Grace does not mean it's coming from one direction somewhere. As gravity is, grace is, but in a much bigger dimension, because gravity works only to a certain distance. Grace is the basis of the creation. But you won't be available to it if you have strong walls of individuality. If you become dispassionate, slowly the walls will dissolve. Now, it breathes grace. Everything in you breathes grace.
I wondered if you could talk a little bit about grace and how it works, or like here in the ashram, it's very easy to access or to feel it, but once you go outside, it's quite difficult to be connected to that energy or the grace. If you could talk something about that. Thank you.
You're asking me to talk about the fragrance of this flower. How to do that? Only if you have a sensitive nose. Fantastic. Otherwise, somebody has got their nose stuffy today, means nothing. So, grace means nothing to a whole lot of people. They don't even It's not that you have to think about it or you have to talk about it. It is just that if you're too full of yourself, only if you're too full of yourself, you can be unconscious of grace. In the sense, you don't even have to go to school and know about planets and solar system and galaxies and stuff. Just as a human being, if you look up, you don't know where this begins, where this ends, in the middle of nowhere. Here you are sitting on a planet spinning and see, you're fine. Definitely not your doing, isn't it? Definitely you can't do this. Whatever is holding all this up, one title for it, grace. Now, whether you're available to it or not is the question. When we say grace, we are not looking at a certain kind. We are looking at that which is the basis of everything. Because you do not know how this solar system is held in place. You do not know how the whole universe is held in place. You do not even know how you happened, really. How so many cells are staying together and make your life happen, you don't really know. You have explanations and explanations, but you don't know. If you knew, you would create one right now. If you knew exactly how, we would make it, isn't it? So, when there is so much that you do not know and everything is still happening great, obviously, it's not an accident. So whatever is making all this happen, that energy, that force, we call it grace. But now the question is about making yourself available. If you have a stuffy nose, the flower means nothing to you. If you're blind, light means nothing to you. If you're insensitive, nothing means anything to you. So, it is a question of becoming sensitive. Most people are ego-sensitive. They're not life-sensitive. Right now, you have to be cautious about what to say and what not to say to a whole lot of people because they're horribly ego-sensitive. For everything, they will crash within themselves. First of all, you create one illusion. Then you create another illusion of it falling and rising. It's a very bad game. You must be disillusioned soon. If you're truly disillusioned, absolutely, you will always be available to grace. If you have no illusions of your own, you will wonder about everything. How can you not wonder? About everything, about your very existence. If you have no conclusions in your mind about anything, simply here, you will be soaked in grace. Even now you are, but you cannot enjoy it unless you're conscious, that's all. It will not work for you because you're not conscious. It is working for you, but still you cannot fully benefit from that. See, it is a fact, a medically established fact. If two people eat the same food, both of them will not get the same nourishment. Exactly same food, two people eat, they will not get the same level of nourishment because it depends on your ability to draw sustenance from that. So to develop this capability, all of us are in grace, but to develop the capability to draw sustenance from that, so that this life becomes an expression of that grace. See, if you have smelled this flower, this is typical to southern India. Phenomenally fragrant. You think our garden department is pouring fragrance at the roots? No, they're putting filth, believe me. Yes. Even if you put filth, see how fantastic it became, because that's its nature. Because it does that, we are planting that tree, nurturing it, taking care of it, everybody's concerned how it is growing. Suppose it was giving out a smell that was unpleasant to you. Suppose it just took the filth and threw out the filth through the flower. No, we would have taken it out, isn't it? So grace brings many benefits. Once you're exuding grace, everybody wants to nurture it, everybody wants to promote it, everybody wants to be a part of it, because you're exuding grace. Now, the question is not at all about whether you're in grace or not. You are, otherwise you cannot exist. The question is only about, are you exuding grace or are you transforming this into something nasty and letting it out on everybody? Let me tell you a very well-known story in India. It's a folklore. Just about everybody in the country should know this story probably. There was a sage living in the jungle, blind of vision. He has no vision, simply sitting in one place. Rarely people pass this way. When they pass this way, they give him something and he lives by that. No vision. One day it so happened, the king and his retinue of soldiers and ministers, whatever, they all went out hunting. In the hunt, in chasing a deer, a spotted deer, they lost their way and the king got lost, separated from the group, because the king has the fastest horse. The best one, he rides. So, he went away ahead of them and got lost. They were all searching, they all got lost. And then the soldier came and asked the sage, "Did you see the king?" He said, "No." Then a commander came and asked, "Did you see?" He said, "No." Then the minister came and asked, "Did you see?" "No." Then the king himself came there. Then the blind sage immediately recognized he is the king. "Oh, your people have been looking for you. First your soldier came, then your commander came, then your minister came." The king observed and saw that the person was blind. And then he asked, "Oh divine being, how do you know that first it was the soldier, then the commander, then the minister?" The sage said, "Well, the first one who came said, 'Hey, blind one, did you see our king coming here? Did anybody come this way?' So I knew he must be your soldier. The second one spoke with authority but without respect. I knew he must be one of your officers. The third one, the minister came, he spoke with great respect. So I thought he must be your minister. Now you came, now you touch my feet and refer to me as the divine one, you must be the king. Whether you eat food or breathe or drink water, anything, it is grace. Otherwise, how? 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen becomes life-making water. This is grace. Okay, you can give it an explanation, but you don't know why this should happen, isn't it? All that is happening is grace. Now you drink this, or you eat this, or you breathe this. Will you also exude grace because you consumed grace? You must also conceive grace and exude grace, isn't it? But unfortunately, people take in fantastic things into themselves, turn it into nasty nonsense and lets it out. But look at the tree. You give it filth, it gives out fragrance. It's time. If you learn the way of the tree, if you learn the way of the rock, you will exude grace. So the question is not whether you are in grace or not. Definitely every creature is in grace. Are you capable of exuding the grace that you consume? That's the question.